All right. Apparently my have a little green screen technical difficulties here. Oh, good. There's no one watching yet, supposedly. So if you are, I'm just fixing my green screen right now. I apparently tweaked the settings while I took a screenshot of it or something. If you want to see what my green screen looks like, there it is. And it's, oh, this side that's, yeah. Maybe I bumped it or something. That needs to be flattened out. Crap. Oh. Sorry, I'm just adjusting the settings. There we go. We're going to roll with that. That's good enough. Okay. That's what I get for not actually testing everything out before starting to stream. I just opened up Streamlabs right before I started. Okay. So what the plan is today is not to write documentation like it looks like. So I wanted to write a function to convert curl commands into Invoke-RestMethod. And I was thinking about that today after I planned out the event for this afternoon. And I decided that it might as well be a function in a module because when was the last time you saw an entire repo dedicated to a single function? Yeah, probably never. Or at least I haven't. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sorry about that. Oh, and yeah, right as I go live, I get 5 people trying to message me. The idea for to actually not even sure what to call it. Convert to what? So the idea that I want to, or the problem that I want to solve right now, is to take a string that is a curl command and end up with a runnable Invoke-RestMethod command. And so what that's going to look like is, so I've done some work in the PS Dropbox module, the Dropbox API. And so I'm going to pull a bunch of different examples from here as I go along. But the idea is to take what you're looking at here, this curl command, and output that syntax for Invoke-RestMethod. So I'm still lost on what to actually call the function. Convert to, I don't know, Invoke-RestMethod. We'll start with that. We'll be a little verbose on the name to start with. What is the alias for Invoke-RestMethod? Can I do a command? Get alias? Let's see. I know there's an alias for Invoke Web Request. Invoke-RestMethod IRM. Okay, so we're gonna that's a little too long in my opinion, so we're gonna call it ConvertTo-IRM.ps1. Sweet. Okay. So we're gonna start with a really basic. I want to start with just solving the basics here. Curl string, because ultimately this could be. I could be making some kind of class out of it and doing all sorts of things. But we're going to start with keeping this really simple. Nope, nothing I have to take care of right this second. And to keep this, start really simple, I'm going to take an example string. Let's see, we'll make another file here. It's called example. Okay, so that's our example string. What that needs to look like is Invoke-RestMethod on this URI. You know what? I'm wasting a lot of time right now because I actually, here, let's, no, there's a Dropbox module. I actually did, a presentation on converting curl to, what is happening? That's the one I want to open. Oh, I did open file, not open folder. I did a presentation on converting curl commands to Invoke-RestMethod, and I've got a ton of notes in here from that. Yes. So I'm going to use this as my examples. Forget making an example.txt. Okay, goodbye to example.txt. Okay, so did I? No, I didn't type anything in there. Okay, so for my curl string, so obviously it's going to start with, we could actually have a validate pattern here. Let's see. Oh, this is gonna be pretty regex heavy for anyone that's for you folks that are watching right now. Ooh. It doesn't matter if it's, let's see. So curl uppercase, lowercase doesn't actually matter. So actually we're gonna make this validate script. Let's see. And make it match. Let's see, we'll do $_.to lower because regular expressions are case sensitive. So match curl. So if we did so we actually imported that and did a ConvertTo-IRM curl string curl. That should actually work, but if we did not curl, that'll fail. Okay, cool. That'll get us started out at least. So first thing we want to do is get all the parameters. Now we have to pull URLs out of there. So I'm looking at the man pages for curl. I have never read through these before. Well, I should say never read through the entire thing there before, but I just pulled it up in case something comes up and we need to look at that. So we can probably just say curl string match. See, dash is, I think it's a special character. And we're going to say, so we want to match a dash followed by anything other than a white space. So white space in regular expression is /W, I believe. So we can put that inside of square brackets and say anything other than a white space. And we'll put that inside of parentheses and call it parameter. And so that should mean that matches.param is now going to be our parameter, and it'll only match the first one. So if we go, let's see, curl -d, false. It does not match. Okay, I'm gonna make this testing a little easier. I'm just gonna say curl string equals, and we're gonna get, let's see. Well, that's a really complicated example. We're gonna use a little simpler example for our test here. So curl string equals this minus all of the page or line ends here. I'll deal with those at a later time. Okay, so curl string equals. So that's the curl string we're going to test. Nice. Okay, so we should be able to say curl string match. False, it does not. Okay, maybe it will match there. No, it is not. Okay. So does the dash need to be escaped? Let's get rid of this circular parentheses here. And you know what? I probably should have done this too. Regular expressions are a pain. Let's see. Word. Oh, that's why. Okay, so white space is actually S. Okay, so lowercase s. I always get those confused with S, or with W's, obviously. Okay, so that should now match true, and matches dot. Oh, I didn't do the param, so we need to add that back in there. Okay, so now if we do matches dot param is H. Okay, cool. If you've never used regular expressions with PowerShell using the dash match parameter like I've got here on line 6, and I accidentally marked it, that actually produces the matches variable, which gives you all the matches. And if you use parentheses with the question mark and then open and close, those aren't square brackets. I don't know, sideways brackets, angle brackets. It'll produce a property with that name. So you can see param down here in the output, and then param is the name there. So what I need to do is I need to iterate through and get all of the params. So I can probably do a while loop, and then while the beginning of the string matches dash something or other, I can get that param, and yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to need a while loop and a switch statement, because I need to switch each of these different params. So in this one, there's just dash H and then dash X. So we're going to start with dash H and X. Okay, so we're going to say switch matches dot param. I'd be willing to bet that both dash H and dash X are, oh, I just have the letter, are both shortened versions of parameters on curl. So we can actually verify that by looking at curl and just doing a search for dash H. Headers, oh, really? Dash H. Okay, so dash H is header. Okay, cool. So, or dash header. So what we need to do is actually need to match on 1 or 2. So 1 comma 2 and curly brackets here for the dash, just in case, because you notice for header it's either dash H or dash header. So we'll say H. Can you do, is it, no, you can't do an array there. I was wondering if you could do an array in a switch statement. Or can you? I think you can. Okay. I don't know that that'll work, but what we can do to test it is to edit our curl string so we have a dash H and a dash header. Clear that out. You know what? I'm going to zoom that in a little bit. I just realized I didn't do that before I started. So I think that will work. And so if we have an H or a header, then we need to return that object type as a header, and this is going to be the X is going to be the method. But this is going to be in a while loop, and if it's in a while loop, it needs to kind of ingest the string as it goes. So the first thing we need to do is say, now I was thinking we could put the entire curl string to lower, but if it has authentication information in it, for instance, an auth key, and this one does, but that's not my auth key. This is the example auth key. So if it does have some kind of case-sensitive information in it, I don't want to destroy that. Because I'm trying to think how to match. Okay, so what we need to do is first is remove the curl. So what I'm actually going to do is or curl.exe. exe, because I believe that, and we're going to make sure there's a space in there too. So I believe that curl can be run as curl.exe if you're on a computer. You know what? That's too much of an edge case for now. We're going to stay away from that. I'll deal with that after we get everything else working. So what I'm going to assume is that the curl string starts with curl, because we've got that in the param block. So I'm going to say curl string replace the start of the string curl with nothing. So I want to cut that out of there so we can get right to the first parameter, which is going to be a dash something rather. So I'm going to use a working string. Let's see. So working string equals curl. So my working string should now, if we just run that, it should start with a dash. So one of the curl parameters. But what if it has more than one space? So we'll do a dash s plus. And that should still come out with the same thing. Nice. Okay, just in case someone does curl space space first parameter, or space space space, whatever. Okay, so then we'll do while matches dot param, and then we'll indent that, close that out, and we'll put our curl string right here. So curl string not curl string, working string, since we switched that. Okay, so to start this out, I'm just gonna say header. I'm just gonna do some string output here to test this. Let's see, matches dot param. And otherwise, it's a method matches.param. I'll default. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Default. And this, actually, let's figure out what the other. So dash x for. Let's see, curl dash. That is not what I was expecting. Can we do capital X? Oh, here we go. Request method. So it's either dash capital X or dash dash request. Okay, so it is case sensitive. That's gonna be a pain to. Let's see, request. That's gonna be a pain to account for, but it is possible. So for now, we're just going to say unknown. Okay, so matches.param. Okay, so if we run this, oh, no, that's not actually going to do anything, because I got to actually do something at the end of my while loop. At the end of my while loop, I need to actually do something to get rid of more of the string. But before I do that, so all I'm doing in this switch statement is unknown h. So okay, so I did this wrong. So what this should be, instead of at, it should be in. I believe you can do a comparison statement in here. Contains. I think that'll work. Sorry, I'm a little rusty on my switch statements. Nope. Matches.param. h/header contains $_ default unknown. That was a little surprising to me. Okay, well, let's look at it, Google. Well, I cannot read that on my white screen. Oh, the way. Oh, is it really that simple? Or no, it should be the array first, right? Array contains. But I might be having one of those days. Or is it? Can I say $_in? Does that work? I don't remember if in is a. No, it's still unknown. I'm fairly certain it's array contains item. But we might need to actually explicitly state that that is an array. Oh, that didn't make a difference. But you know what? Just because. Never hurts to actually try. Okay, so that's still unknown. Okay. Oh. So it's the statement inside of curly brackets. Okay. Not parentheses. Okay, so it should be then contains $_. Ah, there we go. Okay, okay. Okay, so we can do this to this guy as well. Contains, okay. But we also, not only do we need to return what the parameter is, but what the value is. And so the value, we can assume that anything that's not a dash, unless it's, that's going to be really tricky. Because we can, if we look at the example command that I've got, we know that the string can start with single or double quotes, which could contain a dash, because you notice we've got a dash in there. That's going to be really difficult to do. So I'm going to assume, for right now, that the end of a parameter's value is space dash followed by a non-white space or non-space character. We're going to go with that for now to get this first example working, because I want to get the example working and go with that. So we go working str dot index of, if we go dash, and then look at our matches dot param. And actually, you know what? Matches should also contain the entire value. Okay, so actually, we can do matches 0, which is, okay, dash H, and that should be dash header once we get there. We'll find out. Oh, why do we have to do an... Okay, so working string match. Okay, actually, what I'm going to do, so what I did here on line 7 is I'm assuming that that's at the start of the string, so I don't need to actually find the index of it. And so we can actually say not working string matches 0.length and assume that that is the index that we, well, -1 is the index on our working string that we're starting at to figure out where that parameter value starts from. So how do we find the next index of, or no, that'd be simple. That'd be simple. Okay, so so we want to go working string match. So I want to match the next start of the parameter inside of that curl string. So if we look at our example here, I want to match, so the string, actually, I'm making this too complicated. So down in the terminal, if we'll look at the working string. We've got, is my head covering that up? Let me zoom that in a little bit. We're starting with dash H. We want to find the index of this guy right here. So what we can do is, so working string match, so it's going to be a space, it's going to be a dash, then it's dash, and then it's going to be a non-space, so capital S. And I think Also going to ruin our matches variable. Okay, so that's fine. Matches is, okay, space dash H. And can we go working string dot index of matches 0, 49. So if we go working string dot substring, and we start at our 0 and go to 49. Sorry, apparently can't find my numbers. That should be, okay, so that should be the entire parameter followed by the parameter's value. So that's good. Of course, there's a lot of edge cases that I'm not accounting for in this, but that is going to work for now. Okay, so then if we get so we got substring 49. That's not what I want. I want to get the actual index of variable, pull it out of here. Okay, so index equals, and then 0, comma, index. Okay, so then we should be able to say header, and then parameter value equals, and then we can say parameter value dot substring. So we can get rid of, we're going to start, so out of this string, so this string down here below is what I'm looking at for parameter value. And I want to return just whatever's not the past parameter name, so just the value, so whatever's after that. So parameter value dot substring, so I don't have access to the matches 0 dot length. So let's say parameter length equals, and I'll have to go through and run this again to get this to actually work. It's not going to work right now because matches is currently from the second match. So parameter length, so we should be able to say minus 0, and that should, we'll find out. Okay, should work. Okay, so working string, we're going to do that first match. So now that makes matches equal to, so this first, you know what, I'm confusing myself enough here that I'm going to start adding some comments. So this first working string is going to match the parameter name, and the second one is going to match parameter value. Add some spaces in here. Okay, so now we've got the parameter name, and so parameter length should be matches 0, parameter length 2, and then parameter value, if we do a match there, so that substring is not quite what I expected. So that first, I'm going to match that parameter name again, and matches 0 dot length. Oh, that's why. Okay, so I did matches dot param is right. Matches 0 is dash h. So the length is 2. So I'm in the index of 1, but there's also a space. So parameter length is going to equal. So matches 0 is dash h, which is 2, and so this needs to start at index of 2 minus 1, which still includes. Okay, so instead of subtracting that, that shouldn't be subtracted at all. Okay, I'm gonna do a dot trim on that as well. So this should output. I'm gonna out that to null right now. This should just output, tell me what the header is, which is, so header, nope, I don't need to actually see what that value is. So since that parameter in this case is matching, let's match that parameter name again. So out of that switch statement, we're switching on matches.param, which is going to be H. Because the first, so I'm bringing my curl string again to remember where I'm at. So remember, out of the working string, I'm removing curl. I'm getting the first parameter, which is -H, and then I'm trying to get this value out of there next. So I'm going to switch, so if it's H, it's a header, and I'm going to return, well, let's see what happens there. So I'm fairly certain if I got the match right, it's going to return. Okay, so we got header, and we got the value, which is trimmed. Perfect. And we can actually, you know what? We don't even need to do them all separately inside of the switch statement. What I'm going to do down here is, because all the parameter values are going to be, well, probably similar. And then we're going to return that parameter value, and then what we're going to do is remove that entire string so then it can next ingest the next piece. So working strings, what I got for matches is this -H, but we have that parameter value, the end of it, the index. So now if we return working string equals working string match, or no, dot substring, and we're going to start at the, or end at the start at the index that we have in parameter value. So remember again, parameter value is the end of, in this, this is getting a little small for me. So in this string down here, this, what I've got highlighted is the parameter value, and the index at the end of it is going to be this guy right here, which I've got in parameter value. In this index variable. So working string, so we're going to start at index and go to the end of it, and then we're going to rematch for another parameter, and ultimately, I'm going to add those comments in as well, and ultimately this should output all of the parameters that's in the entire working string. So let's see if that's going to work. I feel like I'm reaching. Yeah, that didn't work. Okay, so we got a false. Working string and substring index.trim. I should probably remove any leading white spaces because I believe there may have been one there. So we've run that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Whoa. What do we do there? So working string equals working string.substring index. So what is index? 0. Okay. What is working string? We got to the end of it. Oh, so if it doesn't find, so if this is false, so if working string, so if it doesn't find another parameter, that's what broke it this time. So we can't assume that it will, because then it'll reach the end of the string, and we need to have some logic in for what it does when it hits the end of the string. So we can either say if, whoops. So if it matches, then there is another parameter. Otherwise, but either way, it still needs to get the parameter. Well, that's actually all depends on there being that index. Otherwise, it's going to assume that index is the end of the string. Actually, I can cut this out of here and put this down below. So since my index variable depends on it being able to match this sequence here, so if we look at the working string, well, actually, let's look at the whole curl string since it's not in there anymore. So it's going to match this first parameter, and then it's going to look for another one, so space dash and then a non-space character. So what we need to do is set the index equal to working string dot length minus 1. Otherwise, and this is going to break specifically on this one, because a non-named parameter for curl is the URL. So I'm going to have logic in here at some point that matches a URL. Assuming that the other parameters can also be passed to URL, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. And so let's see, working string match. Actually, you know what I should do is instead of making this while match.param, I should just say while working string match, and we're going to get rid of that. So if that's true, then it'll run through and do its thing. Otherwise, it won't. So let's run this little bit, clean this up a little. Let's zoom out just a tad while we're up here in the code. Aha! Okay, so that looks good. Minus, we got a little bit of cutoff here. So for the first header, we got XAuth key, which is good. I'll zoom in while I'm down here in the terminal. And then for the second header, it cut off the -h. I'm not sure why it did that. Header, so the -x is a method, an unknown. It's going to be unknown. I'm abbreviating some of the output. So parameter length equals matches 0.length. So this actually output, so parameter. I'm trying to figure out why down below it's got just a header, or just the header without the h. So working str.substring 0, index, parameter value, so working string. So it's outputting this guy right here. So parameter value.substring, parameter length. Oh, okay. So it's because this match right here didn't match the entire HEADR. It just matched on the H, which doesn't make sense. Let's see. So parameter length is matches 0.length. So matches 0 in that case. Okay, so let's make a new working string to test it on. Okay, so if we do that, so you notice I've got, and I'm not covering it up, dash header, and then the just a value inside of double quotes. So, so working string, or no. So let's see, so working string, I'm just gonna run this stuff manually here. So matches 0 is -h. Okay, so that's not what I expected. So we got, so the match, this is where regular expressions can get really complicated. Parameter, oh, that just needs a plus sign. Okay, so that should actually fix that. So now we go to matches 0, there we go. So we got the entire dash header. Okay, so let's try this again, and this should output. Oh, okay. So for someone that's watching that isn't familiar with regular expressions, so this inside the square blocks here, I'm looking for anything that's, so this caret means not, and dash slash s. Oh, don't want to actually move it. Slash s is a space, or it's a tab or a space. A space character is what it's referred to as. So I think it's not a space, and with this plus sign modifies that to say, I think plus is 1 or more. And so I wanted to return as many of them as possible, so it keeps looking in that regular expression, in that string, until it hits anything that doesn't match it. So in this case, it's anything that's not a space, so anything that is a space will stop that matching. And so that's why it returned the entire header string there. Okay, so now the only issue I've got to deal with is the matching that URL out of there. So I think to do that, I'm gonna look at a couple of other curl commands before I start doing anything crazy here. So this has got the URL here at the beginning. Oh, what if at the first step I did was match the URL straight out of there? I'm not super familiar with curl, but I think if I just pull the URL out, that shouldn't be an issue. So we're going to do that. And you know what? Whoa, regular expression to match a URL. I'm sure someone's done that before. There we go, on Stack Overflow. Okay, so these are some really badass regular expressions. Does it need to start with HTTP, TPS? We're going to assume that yes, it does for now. So what we're going to do is the first thing is to say, so we've got the working, actually the working string is going to be, so I'm going to match, before I do anything, I'm going to commit this because it works, kind of. Initial or start of matching parameter and values. Oh, it did the actual method. Yeah, so the method actually worked too. Okay, so first thing, I commit that as is. Go ahead and push that up. If for everyone watching, if you want to see this code, it is pushed up in a repo, GitHub/theposhwolf/ what did I call this? curl2ps. So that's number 2. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is get the URL. So we're going to do curl string match that massively long regular expression that I shamelessly took from Stack Overflow. Yeah, I absolutely agree, which is why I'm doing it. I spent enough time working with I've got a couple of modules I'm working on for working with REST APIs, and I've just got sick and tired of I don't know, figuring it out, reading through each of them. And if you see my blog, you know I don't blog very often. I'd rather sit and write code. Is there music? I don't have any music. Are you hearing music from my stream? That might be on your end. I thought I toyed with writing a blog, a long blog post like the ones that Kevin Marquette does. The really in-depth, covers every single angle. Hopefully it was good music at least. But I just don't get the motivation to blog very often. And so I was like, well, what could I do instead? Well, I could sit down and write code instead that will do this for me. So I don't know. I learned by reading other people's code. So I feel like that's a good way for someone to learn the way I do things, or a way to do it. And so that's where I'm coming from on this. Any idea if you've got to escape a? I think this blue string over here is just a from VS Code. I don't think that's an issue. Well, we can find out. So match is true. Nice. Okay, so that's sweet. Okay, so getting back to this. So I'm assuming, and for anyone watching, if you're more familiar with curl, you could fix my assumptions here. But I'm assuming that if we pull that URL out, it's not going to break the rest of it. And there's not going to be other URLs in there. So we're going to grab it. We're going to match it using that regular expression that I took from Stack Overflow, because while I do know some regular expressions I would not have known a lot of. Well, just knowing the characters. Okay. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked too much there. So matches. So 0 is the URL. So I'm just gonna in place stand in until I get to a better way to store all this data. URL equals matches 0, and then we're gonna say. Can we do a double replace? I think we can do a double replace. Replace URL nothing. I think that works actually. Let's find out. I forgot what my curl string was. So that was my original curl string. Nice. And then now the working string should still have the. Okay, so we probably gotta do this in parentheses. So if you notice on the output, which is actually covered by my head, you notice the output down here still has the URL. I was trying to get that out of there. It didn't come out. So we'll have to scrub a little harder here and try that. Did I set URL? Oh, that's okay. That's why that didn't work, because URL doesn't have a value yet. Okay, so let's rematch curl string, and you know what? I'm gonna say match URL, so I know what that matches does. Okay, so URL. So now URL. There is the URL, and my eyeballs tell me that that's the right one. Okay, sweet. And we'll remove that line break. Okay, so now this should work. Working str. Okay, sweet. So now I don't have to worry about trying to match a URL in every single parameter. And if we get to the end of this and actually run this while loop, oh, that is not quite right. But that's closer than we were before. So I got my headers. I got the method, or at least the first 2 characters of the method. So let's look at working str is just a t. Okay, so for some reason, at the end of the string, the index probably shouldn't be a -1. Okay, let's try that again. That was me jumping down. Okay, there we go. Okay, sweet. So the way I imagine building this so that it could keep converted to an Invoke-RestMethod is hash tables. Well, yeah, you can have a hash table key equal to an array. I think. Let's find out. Hash table might not be the best because we might be in a header 1, header 2, header. Oh, except if it's a header, it is already a key value pair. Okay, I just answered my own problem. Okay, so if it's a header, we know it is a key value. So it is already a hash table type value. Okay, cool. So that is excellent. So what we want to do, and that's why I've got the switch statement, but we get the parameters separately. Can we? So before we do the switch, so this switch statement starts with the matches.param. So if it's a header, what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to avoid doing 2 switch statements because each of these switch statements, multiple of the same header name. I know, I'm not sure if you're referring to it being in curl or in a hash table. I know in a hash table you can't have multiple keys with different values. You can't have multiple keys with the same names. But yeah, HTTP headers, I couldn't tell you. Not sure. I can't say that I am a web developer. I happen to really like using PowerShell, and when I saw an opportunity to use it on an API, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to stick with PowerShell because I know PowerShell instead of trying to learn something else. But that's a good point. I'm not going to worry about. I think at this point, this cmdlet function is going to assume that the past curl command is a valid curl command. I think it's a safe assumption right now at this point. And further down the road, maybe we'll look at validating curl commands, because I'm sure there's probably a curl command validator out there. Maybe it has an API. That would make this a lot easier. Anyway, so what I'm trying to do specifically with this switch statement is not have to do it twice. Because once I figure out what type it is, I will then have to get the parameter out of it. Or what I can do is, here we go. I will, instead of doing a switch statement here, I will start with a variable and call it parameter name equals matches dot param. But I think I end up on matches. Okay. Oh, and we'll put this up here. And then what I'm going to do is, actually, let's collapse that for now. We're going to assume that's not right there right now. And then I'm going to get the parameter value equals. Okay, so I'm just going to stick with parameter value equals. And so now I have the parameter name and parameter value. And so I'm just going to do a switch statement down here. And we're going to say parameter name. And actually, I'm just going to yoink, cannibalize that guy, put him down here. Okay, so parameter name is header. Okay, so if it's a header, so if it's a header, I need to create a hash table for headers. But should I declare a header hash table ahead of time, even if there isn't a header? You know what? To start with, I'm just going to do that. Let's see. And I'm just going to say headers equals. Okay, so if it's a header, we're going to say header of. Oh, well, first of all, I can't start with that yet, but I will do that down below. The first thing we need to do is figure out what the key is, what the value is, and we can trim off the double or single quotes if they're there. So what we'll do is parameter value replace, and we're going to start with our. Oh, how do you do? Okay, we're going to do 2. Oh, it gets complicated having quotes inside of quotes inside of quotes. So we're gonna start the string and we're gonna replace. Oh, not the escape. Either. Wait, can I do? Oh, this is gonna get really ugly because it's gonna break. It's gonna break PowerShell. Oh, will that work? I have no idea. And we're gonna go dot star, and then the end of the string, and at the end of the string, we're gonna do the same thing. Single quote, double quote, close, or whoop, I moved my star. So the dot star should be there because I don't care what's in between them. I just want to remove the single or double quotes from the beginning. And parameter value. Oh crap. Okay, so hold on a second. Parameter value, I need this value, not this. Parameter length. Okay, so I have the wrong value for parameter value. So that should be what I want. Parameter, because I just tweaked that before. So that's get. Oh, that's not one of the. Okay, so I'm just going to assign parameter value equal to this manually. Okay, so there we go. So now parameter values, parameter length comes up first because L before V. Okay, okay. So let's see if this works. Parameter value replace with nothing. So this should remove the. Oh crap. It replaced everything with nothing because I included the dot star. That was really intelligent. We're going to do 2 replaces. We'll do 2 replaces. I didn't think we'd have to, but I think we have to. I do now, I should say. Whoop. Unless someone knows more about regular expressions than I do. So I think we have to do one for the start of the string, one for the end of the string, and there we go. So if we do, it removes it from the beginning, and it removes it from the end, and you notice it doesn't actually reply back to it. So what I have to do is parameter value equals, and at the end of this, we should end up with a parameter value that has no single or curly quotes in it. There's the parameter length again. Parameter value, oh, that did not work. That did not work. Oh, it's typo. Yeah, you saw it before I did. That's what that nice squiggly green line there was for too. Good catch, good catch. Okay, so that is what I want. And then I want to split and trim both sides so I get my key value pairs. Okay, so then, which is, let's say split equals parameter value dot split. And for now, I'm going to assume that there's just going to be an array of 2. I mean, it will need to account for edge cases, but let's see. You couldn't have multiple headers of the same name, but it's rare. Huh. That is interesting. Yeah. That's good to know. It can have multiple headers of the same names, but you're right. It would break a hash table in PowerShell. So I'm going to assume for now, and I guess that can be a known issue for this. Yeah, that is a fun fact. Someone brought up one of my previous streams, URI versus URL. I didn't have an opinion either way, but Invoke-RestMethod uses URI, so that's what I was using. Okay. But yeah, I guess that could be a known issue. If the curl command has multiple headers with the same name, this will break. Oh well, for now. Okay, so what this should do now is create a header hash table. If my code was good here, oh, no errors, that's a good start. So headers is good, except we got a blank one. I think the curl string actually had a blank one. Yeah. So signature, you notice. Oh, my head's probably covering that actually. I'll duck down a little bit. So you notice here for signature, there isn't actually a value for that one. And I that's just the nature of that specific example. Let's grab another example, because there are going to be other edge cases that we've got to account for. Well, edge cases, other normal cases. I'm not interested in edge cases yet. So that's a really simple one. So anyone that's just tuning in, what I'm looking at here is I did a presentation for a user group on converting curl to Invoke-RestMethod. I spent a lot of time pulling a lot of examples, and so that's what I'm looking at here. Oh, so here's an example with data. So that's good. So data is probably going to be JSON. And this one uses -x patch. So there's no space after X. Okay, so the question is that actually a valid use, or was that a typo? Because I copied that straight out of Airtable documentation. I don't know. I don't know enough about curl. If someone's watching that does know if you can just do -x and then straight into the method, I would like to know. But for now, what I'm going to do is we're going to borrow this and use this as another example. Let's see, -x. So I know -x is a thing, but there's supposed to be a space between -x and the method. So here, I'll bring this up again. So I got -x patch. There's no space there. I wasn't sure if that is a thing or not. Oh, and -v. I couldn't tell you what -v is. Let's see, -v. Oh, it's uppercase V. Of course, the search doesn't do lowercase v. Or I guess this is all alphabetical. Let's see, T, S, T, U, V. Where's V? Okay, so lowercase v is for verbose. Okay, interesting. So that's one of the things that I can safely ignore. Oh, you notice my webcam jumping in and out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that there's supposed to be a space, and I'll come back to that if it does end up being an issue. -d. And I'm going to have to deal with multi-line strings at some point. But for now, I'm going to... All right, so this is now my string. Oh. This brings up another problem that I'm going to have. Single quotes or double quotes for the whole thing? Because you notice inside of this string, there is already double quotes and single quotes. So can I actually store this in a string? Nope. Okay. Without doing a... I think we can do this for just a single line string. Right. Let's try that out. Nice. Okay. Okay. Cool. So that works. That works. You typically, if you're watching, the double quotes is for multi-line strings. So if I put an enter, so if I enter and added some more stuff, it would end up being a multi-lined string. Okay. So, but I wanted to get it in there because of the single and double quotes. So now we got that curl string. I am feeling a little dangerous. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the entire string without doing anything. So we got a couple of unknowns. We got some headers. We did get some headers, which is good. And for the unknowns, I actually took out where it actually told you what the unknown was. So parameter name. We're just going to run that again. I probably just start running this as a function. So v and d. Oh, that's right. So v is just verbose. So that doesn't actually need to do anything. And let's see, it's v or verbose. Okay. You know what? Or it could be version if it was a capital V. I'm just thinking about, I'm going to have to make this case sensitive for doing more complex. But at this point in time, I'm going to skip that because I'd rather get this to a working state and then add features to it. Is that actually a feature? Would that be a requirement? I'm not sure. Okay, so version. No. Sorry. I'm talking and typing too much. Okay, so verbose in this case, and there's nothing we need to do except verbose equals to true. But wait, I don't want to set the preference specifically, so we'll say equals well, for now, I'm just going to say verbose. I'm just going to output it and worry about that another time. Okay, so then if it's D, or I think it's D or data. Let's find out. Oh, so data. Oh, there's a lot of options there. Woo! This is going to be a lot more complicated than I expected, but I figure we'll at least get a start and figure out if it ends up being useful or not and go from there. So data. So the data in this case is JSON formatted. So if that's true, one of the headers, whoops. I'm just trying to think of how, whoops, I need to add the S on the end of it. How content type JSON. So D could come before that header, because I could, depending on that content type, I could assume that it's JSON. But I wouldn't always get the header first. I don't think that the order here is specific. No, it is not. Looking at the synopsis here. Whoa, whoops, not sure what happened there. So, and that would be the body in Invoke-RestMethod. So if it's a body in Invoke-RestMethod, I can just straight give that to the body. Okay, yeah, wow. I'm overthinking things way too much. I was like, okay, well, how do I know when to convert it from JSON, when to not? But it can legitimately just be that string, body equals parameter value, in fact. At least I think, well, the easiest way to find out is to give it a try. Okay, so then we got true, we got verbose, and we got the method. Well, let me actually output the method. So the body, okay, so there we go. So the body in this case is JSON string, which Invoke-RestMethod, the body would be a JSON string. If you tell it the application type is JSON. So yeah, that's actually legitimate. So I think that covers all the really basic curl commands. I'm gonna scroll through, see if I had any other examples. Let's see. I think so if the URL has basic authentication in it, I thought I had. I'm fairly certain I had an example in here that had basic authentication with curl inside of the. So there's a PS Slack example. It's another one of mine. Okay, using basic authentication. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So here, so you notice here for basic authentication in curl, you can have it in front of the URL after the protocol, followed by the @ symbol. I have to figure out how to deal with that too. So, but I do not believe this string. Well, I'm going to grab this whole string and copy it over to what I'm working on here. I don't believe this string specifically would match that URL regular expressions. We might have to get. Oh, what the? Was that just too long? Okay. Okay, so we might have to get crazy, unless this includes, so // maybe not, maybe W. That we'll find out. Okay, so let's see. So URL match. Oh, I did a double match. Match. Okay, so it does match. Okay, so that means I don't have to worry about messing with that URL because that regular expression thinks it's a valid one, and it is actually a valid one if you're doing basic authentication via the URL or URI. I guess I got URL here, so we'll call it URL today. Okay. So what that means is we then need to match that string and see if it's got basic authentication in it. Or by that string, I'm saying the URL string. And if it does, we have to remove it so we can do basic in the header. Yes, because that's where basic authentication is done using Invoke-RestMethod. Okay. So before we do that, before we break it, oh, you know what? I should probably just make this a big comment block at the bottom. And say now deals with headers and method and verbose. Kind of. Okay, that's a really simple comment, and I just pushed it up to get if you guys, anyone watching wants to grab it, or if anyone's watching this when I have the recording I upload to YouTube. Well, it'll all be available by then anyway. Okay, so now let's try to break it some more. So URL equals match is 0. So then we want to do is, okay, actually no, we don't want to do that next. We first want to remove that entire URL from that string. So that we still want that to happen. So we want to say if, excuse me, URL match. Ooh. We're gonna come up with a good regular expression here. I love regular expressions, but man, are they complicated. Okay, so we're gonna say, okay, maybe I'm actually referencing this when I'm here a little bit too, so that'll cover that. And then if we have an @ symbol, before any periods, but there can be a period inside of the username and password. Can a normal URL have an @ symbol in it anywhere? Well, what does this regular expression say? So we can match a period. So we can match any of these characters inside of the square brackets. So -a-z, capital A-z, 0-9, the @ symbol, the colon, the %, 2 to 56. So that's, and then a period. And then after the period, we can have AZ 2 to 6. Sorry, I'm like trying to interpret this regular expressions. So 2 to 6 times where it's got that domain name /b. Oh, actually here. Okay. I'm gonna have to make a regular expression that just works. And then worry about edge cases at another time. So what we want is, I'm going to borrow this. I'm going to, oh, except the dub. What if it is a, Actually, what I'm going to do, we're going to really simplify this. Anything that's not an @ symbol, plus, yeah, that's what we're going to grab. So, and we're going to call that UP for user password, username password. Okay, so anything that's not an @ symbol up to the @ symbol, or sorry, not an @ symbol or a period. Well, unless the username password has a period in it. So we're gonna, I mean, this is gonna have to be good enough for now, I believe. So matches, let's just see what matches is. So what I have my URL set to right now. Okay, cool. And does that match? It does. Sweet. Okay, so matches.up. Okay. And basic authentication must not be able to use a colon in the username password. So dot split, we have the colon, up split equals, okay. And so then to add that into the headers, we actually have to base 64 encode it. Oh, and I did that up here. Okay, so I'm sorry, I switched back over to my the REST API presentation I did for PowerShell. And anyone watching, this is in GitHub too. What we're looking at is in my my REST-API-pres repo. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this because I know that works. That's what I came up with before. Copy all of that for reference. And put that here temporarily. Actually, I'm just going to grab that and code it off. So encoded auth equals, and so this is actually going to, I forgot that the encoded authorization expects it to be already in this format. So that makes it easy. So actually we're just going to cut that out of there, put that back here. So matches dot user password up. So encoded auth equals, and then the header of authorization, headers authorization equals basic encoded auth. Bam. So that should add that as a header. So if that curl URL passed is using basic authentication in that form, if it's not, there are other ways to do basic authentication using curl. But I think the only other way to use it with curl, I believe, is adding it as a header, which this would still catch. But let's find out. Okay. So now I want to see what this will work with that. The string I just ran is this curl string here that I'm partly covering up. Let me kind of, I guess I got to go with this. Well, instead of dancing around there, that string that you can see most of. No, that's not the string I wanted to use. That is not the string I wanted to use. What I wanted to use is this string right here. So curl string equals, and does this have, it has double quotes, so we'll use single quotes. Oh, and this has dash request instead of -x. Okay, so this will test and see if that works. Okay. So now let's try that. Oop, not the whole function. We'll test the function after this. We need to grab the new headers too. Okay, so let's see what headers should have an authorization in it. And it does. That's awesome. And body should also have something. This is nothing. Okay, so the body, we also need to remove the beginning and end quotes. So I'm going to copy that, paste it down here. Okay, so body. Okay, cool. So the last thing, I'm going to commit this real quick. Now accounts for basic authentication in URL. I'll push that up. So now the last thing before I want to start testing the function is to actually do something with all of that data. And so we've got to output it. So the start of the string is going to be Invoke-RestMethod, right? Do not find a config file for ps/slack. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so the start of the string is going to be Invoke-RestMethod, and it's going to follow with, it needs a method, right? And if there's no method, it's got to be get. Well, I guess it doesn't need a method because Invoke-RestMethod assumes get if it's not passed, and I believe curl does as well. Oh, you know what? We could build the string as we go and add the headers at the end, because there should only be one instance where it specifies the method. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. So I'm just going to start up here at the top with outString. I'm going to start with Invoke-RestMethod. Woo. And then for my method, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say outString plus equals dash method parameter value. You know what? I'm wondering if I should I'm going to remove the double quotes and single quotes unilaterally here, instead of copying and pasting that a million different times. So we're going to take that out of there. And that way, in case maybe they put the method inside of quotes, we'll account for that too. Okay, so method parameter value. Okay, cool. So verbose, outString plus equals dash verbose. That was an easy one. So data body equals, there should only be one data. So we can say dash body equals parameter value, but ooh, that's a difficult one because this is still going down here. So that's a difficult one because I removed the quotes from it. So maybe we need to leave them there if we're going to be passing it straight to Invoke-RestMethod. I mean, if we wanted to take that data out and do something with it, we could. I'm going to try not removing the quotes, except that we would have to forget. Well, okay, so actually, sorry, I'm thinking through, what if the quotes were still there on the method? Well, it doesn't matter because PowerShell expects the method to be a string, quotes or not. It will interpret that parameter as a string. So we're going to forget doing anything with quotes. Does anyone know how to output a hash table in? So what I'm thinking here. So we have all of the header values in a hash table, but Invoke-RestMethod expects them as JSON, if I remember correctly. I am going to take a look at one of the other modules I did before I go and start making stuff up. So invoke Dropbox API call. So in this module, it talks to the Dropbox API. I've got headers, which is a hash table, and headers. So it expects the headers to be a hash table. So if you're outputting a string representation of a commandlet, how do you output a hash table as a string representation of itself without using JSON or something? That's an interesting problem that I did not expect to encounter, but it makes complete sense. Because the idea well, let's kludge it together so that we can actually at least get the data and then figure out how to deal with that. Okay, we're gonna sit and focus on this one. Okay, what was I working on? So actually outputting the string. Okay, so body equals, so I can actually just say outstring as JSON and convert from JSON. Yeah. It doesn't convert from JSON creates an object though. It doesn't create a hash table. can Invoke-RestMethod dash body take or dash headers take? Let's find out. Because I'm fairly certain that expects a hash table or an iDictionary. And we're getting into data types, which I can't say that I'm... Well, we can try it. I mean, that's literally nothing stopping us from trying it. So output string. So let me get this added in here, and then I want to add those headers in at the bottom. Plus equals dash body. And that will not have the quotes removed. And the default, I'm just going to output unknown for the default. And that's parameter value. Just because we'll know that it needs to be worked on. Okay, and so then the out string plus equals. So here, let me know if this is what you're thinking, because this is what I'm thinking based on what you just said. So we're going to go dash headers, and we're going to say headers convert to JSON, and then let's see. So this is in a string. I can actually put some convert from JSON. I think that's what you meant, and I think that'll work. Okay. And then we'll do an out string, and we'll actually test this function now, the first full function test. So convert to IRM. What did I say? Curl string is curl string. Okay, we got some errors. I'm not surprised. Dash body. Every day there's another reason to actually use PowerShell Core for everything. The only reason I'm working Windows PowerShell is apparently because that's just, I'm on a Windows computer. That's what I have set VS Code to default to, even though I have actually commented out the code when I tried to do PowerShell Core. So what you're saying is I should be using PowerShell Core as hash table. That's awesome, because I actually just ran into a problem that would fix, and it's something else I was working on a couple days ago. So this is why I like live streaming, because then somebody that knows a lot more about something will actually share some knowledge. Thank you, Tyler. I appreciate it. Okay, so we got a dash body. Oh, that's why. That was an easy one. Okay. And I think that, yeah, that should fix everything. Oh, except we're not adding... Not adding any spaces. Not adding spaces. Not adding spaces. Body method verbose. Yep. Okay. Cool. So now we got some spaces. Whoops. Okay. So this is a. Okay. So no, this is terrible. Because the URL, I didn't actually remove that from the URL. Because this is the example where I have basic authentication. So if it matches that, then what it should do is also remove that from the URL. So URL replace. Let's see, we got match it. Well, it's going to need to replace what it matches and then the @ symbol as well. So matches.up. Whoa, not a tab in there. And then the @ symbol. I think I still have the URL reloaded. So URL, yeah. So we have to do, well, matches, probably something different. Yeah, okay, so let's just do, I want to see if this works before we try the whole function. So matches dot up. Okay, sweet. And then dash replace. Nice. Okay, so we want URL equals URL dash replace. Okay, so that should fix that issue of it using the wrong URL. So let's see if that. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this and get some nice color syntaxing here. Okay, so we've got an Invoke-RestMethod get on. No, that's not right. Okay, so I screwed something. I didn't fix that like I thought I did. Replace working string. So no. I did get the authorization in there because I got the encoded authorization. So URL equals URL replace. Oh, you know what I actually see what's going on here. So method get. And so, okay, so I see what happened. So it thinks this is all the method. And I didn't ever add the URI parameter to Invoke-RestMethod. Ooh, because I didn't remember to. So what we should replace. Okay, so this isn't actually working, is what I'm seeing. So replacing the curl at the beginning and the URL. That is not. Let me see what working string was set to from previously. Nothing. Okay, so let's start with, curl string match URL. Okay, so let's working string. Oh, so that's not actually URL. Okay, so this replace isn't removing like the URL like I expected it to. So I'm gonna try this again. Okay, it's still not. I wonder. I'd be willing to bet that I just need to regex escape that string. Okay, let's do that. Regex. All right, so we're gonna regex escape that string. Oh yeah, actually that makes complete sense that that needs to happen. Okay. Okay, no, that apparently doesn't make complete sense that needs to happen. Okay, that replaced. I feel like I'm missing something really obvious. So here what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this instead of taking this shortcut here of doing it on one line. I'm gonna take it to 2 lines because I expect this to work. This is what I would expect to work, but it's not. Oh, interesting. Well, that should still work. So it didn't get anything after the open because of the comma, even though that for the request, that's okay. It's kind of interesting here. So the parameters, it's got parameters in the URL, URI, whatever, that could be pulled out of there. So what I could do is could split this at the question mark and use and then split them by the ampersand and then use that to tack on to the end of the URL or pass them as parameters depending, but I think that's going to be different for different APIs and that just gets too complicated. So I think what I would do is actually split it by the question mark and then use that for the URI. Wow. So this isn't as much of an edge. Well, maybe this is an edge case, but this is getting a little more complicated than I expected. But it's still not replacing that URL the way I expect it to. So we've got. So working str actually does contain. So what if I did... I'm actually got a bit of a loss here. Unless I did a start and end index of that URL. But that doing string stuff like that gets really messy, which is why I started doing this kind of stuff in regular expressions. Let's look at matches again. 0, yeah, that looks good. 2, oh, so there's 2 matches. Interesting. Oh, because of the slash at the beginning. There's no typos, like I had before. And URL. Let's try that reg escape again. Okay, I feel like that is escaped URL equals okay. So what I'm going to try to do is okay. It did actually work the first time. I just missed that. Okay, so escaping it is what needs to happen. But what I saw before was that let me set this back to escape. So what I saw before is what we're looking at, and I noticed that it didn't actually get all of the URL. And so, because of that, I assumed that it didn't work, even though it did work. But if we look at URL, we know that URL doesn't include the rest of this in there. That's unfortunate, because that makes this really complicated. Because that regular expression no longer works. Unless, what if we slightly modify it to also include commas? Excuse me. So what I'm thinking is, okay, so one or none on the www dot, and then everything dot, something dot, and then az26/b. Someone remember what /b is in regular expressions. Oh, word boundaries. Before the first character is string, if the first character is a word character. After the last character is a string, if the last character is a word character. Interesting. Okay, so it's a little different than /s. Huh. Okay, so I'm trying to dissect this regular expression string so I can edit it and make it useful. So we've got dot a to z 2 to 6 times with a word boundary. Wonder why that is. And okay, so I believe that if I put a comma here, that will work. Let's find out. It does. Okay. So whether or not that's actually going to work, comma, in the case of multiple parameter values in URI, should it be there? Well, I'm not going to sit there and speculate in the code. So we're going to leave it like that. So this one works. Oof, that might cause other ones not to work, but oh well. And so the other thing that we need to replace is, you notice that this URL also, where are we at? I'm lost now. Oh, there we go. So this URL also has, in this case, has quotes in front of it and behind it. And if I looked at my examples, if I remember correctly, not all of the curl commands like this one has that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out of here and say escaped URL equals. And then what I'm going to do is escaped URL. And then also add at the beginning single or double quotes. I think I can just go single double like that and then escape it. Single double and question mark, I believe, is one or none. So that should remove the URL and any quotes around it. Now we're using, let's find out. A working string should no longer have, it doesn't. Nice. Okay, sweet. That's awesome. Okay, so now I think this should work. Okay, so I just tried to load the function into memory and we got unexpected token. Did I? Oh, I must have, yeah, I must have forgotten to comment out everything down below. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we want to convert to IRM curl string. Okay, so headers, I didn't actually add a space to. That's fairly minor. Can you guys, yeah, it looks like I'm looking over my other screen. I'm gonna fix that space. So that actually does output a command that would work, assuming what was passed to it is legitimate. So in this case, what was passed to it is example data. But probably put together a request that actually does work in curl. I'm trying to think of one that, because I mean, there's going to require an API key. So for instance, here we'll grab this command here. Oh, not there. So, or not there either. Curl string equals. That's the one I just did. Curl string. Oh, actually, no. We'll use this one. We'll use this one. So if we run this command, am I in the way a little bit there? I am. So I'm looking at this output here. So we've got Invoke-RestMethod, verbose. It doesn't matter that it's first. Body, I got 2 spaces with body. Oh, you know, primary value might have a space in it, so we can actually say dot trim. That's a good point. Method, and we'll do the same thing here. What's with the slash body? It's I'm getting there. Let's trim. Okay, so the curl string I used, it may have had something in it. No, it doesn't. Okay, so it doesn't have those slashes, so those slashes are not supposed to be there. Let's see. Slash dash body. Did I typo something? I'm not sure where you're seeing. Oh. Content type application JSON. Let's see the body. That's not right for the. Oh, I got 2 bodies in there. Previous example. Oh, okay. Let me scroll back up. Oh, you're right. Oh. Yeah, thanks for catching that. Okay. Let's look at that. That was... Oh, okay. So in this example, I have the slash. So when they're doing the line breaks, is it bash that uses the slash as a line break? I honestly can't remember. That's where that came from. So I just deleted it out of there. Let's run that again though to be sure. I'm gonna clear all that busyness. Convert to, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I only know enough bash to get around a little bit and start PowerShell core, that sort of thing. Okay, so here's that previous example, and the header still doesn't have the space after it because I hadn't added that in, haven't reloaded that back in. Okay, so here's the previous example without that slash, which is good. And that was just because I gave it a bad data. But I'd have to account for that at some point. So there's a known issue. Good job. We got a bunch of known issues after today. Okay. Let's try that second example. Let's see what happens. Oh my goodness. Hold on a second. Okay. See what happens with this one. Okay, so we got Invoke-RestMethod, verbose. We got a body of nothing. How did that happen? Okay, so this curl string, let's look at, so we got headers, we got data. So this is what should be, this right here is what should be in the body. But it, okay, so it added 2. Okay, so I've got some bad logic somewhere that's adding body twice. Okay, so it actually, anytime there's a -d or data, it is adding a body. So in that string, do I have multiple -d or -data? Is there 4 bodies today? Dash body patch, dash body. Okay, wow. Ha. Okay, so that switch statement is doing something bad. Okay, so this is the line 70. This is what I'm looking at here. So we got -x patch -h -d. Okay, so we're gonna need to step through that a little more. Okay. So let's. Oh, nope. That was F9. F9. Where's F9? Oh, I'm down in the terminal. That's why it's doing. Okay, so let's F9 that, and then. Okay, so we've got parameter value is blank, but it's V. Oh, okay. Okay, we're done debugging because that's actually a little embarrassing. You're on line 52. I just didn't actually specify that is supposed to contains $_ Okay, so that was easy. Okay, let's try that again. And convert to curl string. Okay, so that, let me get myself out of there. So that looks better. I have to figure out where that true is coming from. So Invoke-RestMethod dash method patch dash body. And we've got dash body. That looks good. I mean, that looks syntactically correct. And headers, convert from JSON. That looks good. Except I don't think that convert from JSON will work because this the curly brackets aren't inside of quotes. So I mean, this is exactly what we're looking at there. And just for kicks and giggles, we've run that. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay, so but if, and it's over multiple lines. and there's spaces here. There's a couple of things we need to work on for that. Okay, so let's just get that out of there. So for headers, convert to JSON. I think there's a compress. There is. Okay, sweet. Oops. Okay, so let's try that again. Oh, don't do that to me. There we go. Okay, so headers, convert from JSON. I think that might work. Might. But again, I still think it needs the, yes, needs the quotes around it. Okay. So if we put single quotes around that, this should, invalid JSON primitive, really? Oh, I believe that should be right there. And that should be removed. Okay, okay. So I formatted that data improperly for the header. You notice. So in the output, it's still got the quote. So let's fix that. So for the data, sorry, the header will actually need these lines. So the quotes came, I know exactly where they came from. Here, I can show you. So here's the string right here, line 70. So it grabs this value right here and then splits it by the colon. And so this string is the key, and you notice it does have the double quotes in it. And then this string is the value. So that's where those extra quotes are coming from. And so that's why up here, so this is where it builds that header hash table. I'm going to take and remove any quotes from the beginning or end of that. In this case. So I started doing that with all of the values, but then in the case like the method, if that has quotes in it, that doesn't matter. And if the body has quotes in it, well, it needs that. So I'll do that just for the headers. Okay, so there. Let's clear that screen and do that again. So that. Okay, so that does look a lot better. Still got that space. Okay. I thought I had a trim in there. Get lost. Okay, so for the header, where to put a dot trim? I put quotes around there. Okay. So if you're streaming every Thursday, that's what I started doing. I'm gonna switch mine around a little bit. Because I think a couple streams ago, I discovered that I was streaming at the same time as you were. So one of us was hogging the PowerShell Live channel. I don't know. I actually wasn't sure which one it was. But okay, so the last thing for the headers to actually get this to work is, oh, no. Hey, I only just started streaming regularly on, I pulled Thursday out of a hat and said, I'll do it Thursday. So no, I wasn't trying to make you feel bad at all for that. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of people that watch PowerShell Live. I think it's a lot of fun, so that's why I do it. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy to switch if you've been doing Thursday for a long time. I haven't been paying attention until I streamed a couple of times, and was it Mark Krause that does started PowerShell Live? He's like, hey, you should get on PowerShell Live, and I was like, oh, sweet. So yeah, I could do Thursday afternoons after lunch. So I'm Pacific time. I saw that you were also Pacific time because you mentioned at noon. You're like, oh, I'm getting hungry for lunch. It's like, oh yeah, me too. But now I believe that this. Sorry, I'm not trying to derail you guys. Keep talking about scheduling. Yeah, and that's so. So typically, usually, we didn't overlap. Usually, I stream at 10 actually at the same time that you started. But today I had a meeting at 10 that I had to get to, and so I did it in the afternoon. So this actually worked out nicely, and this still works for me. So I work for myself, so I make my own schedule. So I'm really flexible. So there we go. So that convert to JSON actually works right there. Outputting it like that. And you know what? This is actually a really good time to wrap up, because I'm getting to the end of my 2 hours, and I got to get back to doing stuff that I need to be doing, like working on my taxes. But I want to try one more string here. But yeah, this is working as far as I can. Well, with basic examples, it's working. Oops. So there's another example. Basic authentication, convert for JSON. And so what I was doing here is I was copying out this little parenthesis block and just running it. Oh, that would have another parenthesis on the end of it. Running it just flat like this, and that works. The only change I made to it was adding in the quotes in the out string. So you must be part of TechSnips then. I have to Brian. Who might you be? I'm not familiar with connecting Twitch names to real people names. But yes, there are a lot of core snips that need to be reviewed. Okay. But anyway, to finish this up, I think I had another curl string I wanted to try. Curl string equals so this is basically working. Invoke-RestMethod get headers. So there's that headers convert from JSON. Okay, I'm gonna take that. I'm just copying and pasting these headers out of there and seeing if they actually come out right. And yeah, we got a lot further than I expected today. But that's where I'm at. I'm gonna get all these notes out of the bottom here and actually make this so someone would like to actually look at it. I'm still waiting for that Slack message from you, Brian. Brian makes. So yeah, thank you. I plan on using this extensively, so hopefully someone else finds it useful. And oh, here we go. I can figure out actually who that was. And oh, the other. Okay, he's our Brian at TechSnips. Okay. I'm so another couple things that I thought about doing with this is giving it a curl command and then just having it run it as an Invoke-RestMethod command, or something like that, or potentially, I don't know. I just thought about it. Well, I was thinking about it today. I was like, well, how am I going to stream for 2 hours on converting curl to rest method? Well, this actually took a lot longer than I thought it would. And there's still a lot more that could be done to it. So I don't know. We'll see. As I play around with it, I might do more with it. And heck, I'll probably stream it too. What did we actually change? Oh, now properly removes the URL and actually outputs. Okay, cool. I feel a little, I don't feel like confident enough to say it just and for simple examples, outputs a working command. Oh, 7 characters. Probably removes. There you go. We'll abbreviate that a little bit. Okay. All right. We'll commit that, and I'll push that up to GitHub. So yeah, this is on GitHub. GitHub / the Posh Wolf / what did I call this? Curl. So I got it up here. Curl, the number 2, and then PS. So if you find it useful, great. If you want to contribute to it, great. I literally just started this repository, so there's nothing in it but a license and the code. So I'll probably, I've got a contributing template somewhere I can throw in there with my issue templates and whatnot. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, Tyler, if you're still here. I really appreciate the help. And I learned a thing or two. Like for instance, next time I stream, I will be doing this on PowerShell Core instead of Windows PowerShell. I should just be doing everything on PowerShell Core, except cross-platform GUIs. That's the problem. That's one of the reasons I stick on Windows PowerShell, because I can still do WPF. But that's a whole other story. I'm sure there's something out there for that I just haven't found yet. Anyway, that's good. I soon I'll look for it. Every once in a while I'll search for cross-platform WPF, and I read through a lot of comments on an issue that have been opened about it in the PowerShell repository. Anyway, I really do have things that I need to get done today that wait for no man, specifically taxes for the IRS. So anyway, thanks guys for tuning in. I will probably be streaming next Thursday as well, afternoon, so we don't overlap. But I'm gonna try at some point to stream 2 days a week. Because I wanted to start pulling issues in other repositories and fixing them, doing live streams and fixing them. We'll see. I don't know. It's all explat WinForms. I didn't know WinForms was part of .NET Core. Okay, that'd be cool. Or if it will be, that'll be cool. I like WPF a little better, but I feel like it's a little more flexible. But you know, WinForms works too. I guess I wouldn't be picky, honestly. All right. Anyway, I got to wrap this up. So thanks for chatting, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Those that have been. Oh, is that happening at some point? Because that would be cool. Because I'm familiar with WPF, somewhat. At least, yeah, familiar enough to make it useful for me in my applications that I use it in. So anyway, I gotta stop saying I'm gonna close the stream and close off. But yeah, anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. I am in PowerShell Slack sometimes. I've got it pulled up, so if you ever want to reach me, I am there sometimes. Yeah, here's the real goodbye. Yeah, thanks again, Tyler. Appreciate your time.